Hello everyone, it's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel, tap the notification bell, like this video. That helps me to keep making videos. I'd appreciate it majorly. The um, the granddaughter of Robert F. Kennedy and Ethel Kennedy. Robert F. Kennedy was JFK's brother and his Attorney General, Bobby Kennedy. His granddaughter, who's pictured right there, Saoirse is her first name, Saoirse Kennedy Hill. Died today she's only 22 years old. She actually was at the compound in Cape Cod, the famous home of the Kennedys, the huge beach property where there's multiple homes. It's like a 6-acre property. It's pictured right there, and that's one of the homes, but there's several, I believe, or at least more than one. And I don't know if it's in that exact home. I think she was, because she was in the home where Ethel lives. Ethel is Bobby Kennedy's widow, and it's her granddaughter and Bobby Kennedy's granddaughter, Saoirse Kennedy Hill. So the reports are that she died of an overdose, according to a Boston 25 News journalist citing a law enforcement source reported that Hill died from a suspected drug overdose. The authorities, the police, and paramedics were called to the property around 2:30 p.m., 2:30 this afternoon. She was taken to Cape Cod Hospital. It's not clear if she died, at the compound or at the hospital. I think she was suffering from, cardiac arrest, but the reports are that it's from the cardiac arrest was from a suspected drug overdose. So it's obviously terrible, and the entire family is destroyed. She was just 22 years old. So her mother was Courtney Kennedy Hill, and her mother was the fifth child of 11 kids of Robert F. Kennedy and Ethel Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy had 11 children. So Courtney was her mother and was Robert F. Kennedy's fifth child, and she married uh, Paul Michael Hill, who's actually, and he's Irish and lived in Ireland for a period of time. I don't know if Saoirse was born in Ireland or not, and it was their only child. I believe that's her as a baby, and that's her parents, Carol Kennedy and Paul Michael Hill. But her father was slightly famous too. He was part of the Guildford Four, I believe it's called, the Guildford Four, and which was the movie, In the Name of the Father. With This is completely off topic, but with Daniel Day-Lewis, four Irishmen that were in prison for a terrorist attack that they were actually not even guilty of. They made a movie about it. In any event, that was her father. So yeah, it's terrible. She suffered. She herself, back in 2016, had written a letter in her school newspaper. I think it's the Deerfield Academy and the Deerfield, I forget the name of the paper that the high school had, basically opening up about her own mental illness and saying that she had been, she had been sexually assaulted, I think, a couple years prior, and had suffered from severe depression and had attempted to take her own life, and opened up about it. So Saoirse is the daughter of Courtney Kennedy Hill and granddaughter of the late Robert F. Kennedy and his wife Ethel, who lives at the home where the alleged overdose occurred. While she was attending boarding school at Deerfield Academy in 2016, Saoirse penned an article for the student paper about her struggles with depression and mental illness. She revealed that she was sexually assaulted by a friend during her junior year and attempted to take her own life. Saoirse underwent treatment for depression before returning to school. In the article, which she penned during her senior year, she described feeling unsettled and lonely because few people on campus knew about her illness. She said her depression took root in the beginning of my middle school years and will be with me for the rest of my life. Saoirse went on to enroll in Boston College, where she was a communications major and vice president of the College Democrats. Her father, Paul Michael Hill, an Irishman who was one of the Guildford Four, a group of men wrongly convicted of bombings carried out by the Provisional Irish Republican Army in 1974. Hill and Courtney married in 1993 and welcomed their only daughter, whose name means freedom in Irish. I thought it was Gaelic or Irish, in 1997. They lived in Ireland from 2002 to 2006, the year they legally separated. And that's her pictured with her mother, Courtney Kennedy and Saoirse, at the White House in 2015, not that long ago, 4 years ago. So, it's terrible, man, and we don't know exactly if, in fact, it was a drug overdose. What kind of drugs? I mean, I can only suspect that it was something, some kind of opioid or something of that nature. I'm sure at some point we might find out. It prompted me to sort of just look up the overdose stats, because I was, I think a lot of people are familiar with this, even though, it's not talked about that much, except in, one or two sentences here and there, and it just stays bad. In 2016, I think the death rate, overdose death rate, was like 30,000, which was a huge jump from the previous year. I mean, in previous years, prior to 2016, it was, I think it was always like 10 or 15,000, but then it doubled basically to 30,000. Then the next year in 2017, it was 70,237 drug overdoses in the United States in the year 2017. And I was looking for 2018, and those numbers aren't out yet, which is a little bit suspicious to me, being that we're now in August of 2019, and the 2018 deaths from overdoses is not out yet. But there is something from just from 2000 from July 17th, just a couple weeks ago, literally 2 weeks ago, a press release from the Health and Human Services Department, talking about just a release. There's no numbers yet. And let me put myself down here. So Secretary Azar, a statement on 2018 provisional drug overdose death data. On Wednesday, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's National Center for Health Statistics released provisional counts of overdose deaths in the United States that showed a decline of 5.1% between 2017 and 2018. So, and then it goes on to praise Trump. The latest provisional data on overdose deaths show that America's united effort to curb opioid use disorder and addiction are working. Lives are being saved, and we're beginning to win the fight against this crisis. Under President Trump's leadership, and thanks to the effort on the ground by communities across America, the number of patients receiving medication-assisted treatment has risen. Distribution of overdose-reversing drugs is up, and nationwide opioid prescriptions are down. But that 5% decrease in the number of deaths from overdose, that equates to about, 5.1% equates to about 3,500 people. So basically 70,000 is down from 70,000 to 66,400. And it's not barely much of an improvement at all. And being that the year before 2017, was 30,000. There is no improvement. It's terrible, and the fact that they don't release the numbers, we don't know the numbers yet, and we're in August of 2019, and yet they put out the statement like it's an improvement, like they're doing a good job. It's a disgrace. It's just absolutely terrible. I have no idea who this is, the Health and Human Services Secretary, Alex Azar, is, and it took about 2 seconds to look him up, and I suspected exactly what I suspected is what he is, and he's a lobbyist. It just cracks me up, that people who are Trump supporters live in some fantasy land that Trump is draining the swamp. It's just you're just kidding yourself. He's a lobbyist, believe it. From the pharmaceutical industry, okay? Alex Michael Azar II is an American politician, lawyer, pharmaceutical lobbyist, and former drug company executive who is the current United States Secretary of Health and Human Services. Azar was nominated by President Donald Trump November 13th, 2017. That's after the other guy resigned. It's terrible, and it's obviously sad as can be for this family that this girl who's 22 is she's gone, and that's just terrible. But it maybe it won't though bring some attention to this, because people are dying all over. I mean, it's 60 in 2018. 66,400 or 66,300 people died. They're dying all over the place. We just don't know it. They're just not. It's not in the news because they're not famous like this girl, and that's not to begrudge this girl. It's just, this poor family. It doesn't matter. Their loved one's gone now too. But maybe it'll bring some attention to this absolutely terrible problem that, frankly, Trump doesn't do nothing about. Nothing. Except giving speeches where people chant things. It's sad, dude. It's not good. Not good at all. So from 2017, we had 70,000 people die from overdoses, and that was a massive increase. That's Trump, okay? Trump was won in 2016. In 2016, it was 30,000, which was a huge jump. But from 2016 to 2017, it went from 30,000 to 70,000. In 2018, it went from 70,000 to 66,500. And they're saying under Trump's leadership, they're doing a good job. That's the story there, man. Very sorry for this poor girl's family and her parents who lost their only daughter today. Absolutely terrible. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.